From buying a coffee at a street vendor to pulling up a restaurant menu, we interact with QR codes daily, usually without a second thought. Over the years, we've trained our brains to spot digital danger. We know to look for misspelled web addresses or sketchy email handles that don't quite look right. But look at this comparison. On the left, the typo in the web address is a visible red flag. On the right, it's just a binary pattern of black and white pixels. It is physically impossible for a human to read. Since we cannot verify the destination ourselves, we delegate that entire verification process to our smartphone cameras, often trusting the software to decide if a link is safe. Scammers exploit this specific vulnerability. They use that moment of automated trust to execute fraud before the victim even realizes a website has loaded. The most common version of this happens in the physical world, at places like tea shops or petrol pumps. A scammer prints their own QR code on a sticker and stealthily pastes it directly over the shop owner's legitimate code. This creates a simple routing error. When you scan the sticker, the system diverts the payment away from the merchant and sends it directly to an unverified account. The shopkeeper's dashboard remains empty because the transaction perfectly followed the instructions on the sticker. Because the digital payment network cannot detect physical tampering, it flawlessly carries out whichever command it is given, even if that command is to send money to a thief. This exact same fraud also happens in digital marketplaces. Scammers will contact people selling items on sites like OLX and offer an immediate advance payment to hold the item. They use the sudden excitement of a quick sale to push the victim into scanning a QR code, claiming it's the only way for the seller to receive the deposit. In reality, the technology is built for a specific purpose. Scanning is a command to send data or initiate a payment. It is never a request for your bank to receive funds. By focusing on the promise of incoming money, scammers trick victims into using their own biometric or PIN security to authorize a withdrawal from their own accounts. The threat isn't limited to direct transfers. A rogue code on a parking meter or a random WhatsApp attachment can trigger a much more invasive process. Scanning these codes triggers a hidden background process, installing a malicious app or banking Trojan. Once installed, it reads incoming SMS messages, allowing scammers to intercept passwords and alerts without the user interacting with a payment screen. Effectively, scanning an untrusted code can grant a stranger the same high-level permissions you've given to your own banking and messaging apps. Falling for these scams has immediate consequences because modern payment systems are designed for maximum speed. Once you enter your PIN, the transfer is instantaneous and irreversible. The money leaves your account in seconds, making recovery almost impossible. The tactics are becoming more sophisticated, using automated tools to generate pixel-perfect replicas of banking portals and payment pages that are nearly indistinguishable from the real thing. Because the technology moves faster than the banks can freeze transactions, relying on a refund after the fact is rarely a successful strategy. To navigate this environment, we have to change how we interact with these codes. We can no longer assume a code is safe just because it's printed on a sign. At any physical shop, take a second to feel the QR code. Check for raised edges or a sticker that looks like it was recently pasted over a permanent sign. Before you confirm any payment, look at your screen. Always verify that the receiver's name shown in your app exactly matches the business you are actually standing in. Most importantly, remember that you only scan a QR code when you are the one sending information or money. If someone tells you to scan a code to receive a payment, it is a scam. By pairing physical awareness with a basic understanding of how these codes actually function, we can use the convenience of digital payment